This is an I Am Listening exclusive podcast.
I'm Numi Gildert.
I'm Harriet Taylor.
And you're listening to Tech Girl Energy, the weekly debrief.
Our picks of this week's tech headlines.
And what we think of them.
We're aiming for 50% informative, 50% fun.
Let's dive in.
You're listening to the 10th episode of Tech Girl Energy, the weekly debrief. We are officially in double digits.
Oh my God, I feel like we're almost teenagers now.
Yeah, and if we were on Roblox, we would not be able to send direct messages to each other. And we're going to get onto that in a second. We will dive straight into our first news topic. A little behind the scenes. We record this podcast on a Wednesday, and this story is everywhere today on all the news sites, in, like radio news bulletins as well. So it's not just like, this has hit mainstream news. So I feel like we need to talk about it. Announced today that the UK government is considering a social media ban for under 16. So the Australian government has banned social media. This came into effect like a couple weeks ago, and it looks like the UK is contemplating doing a similar thing. The Technology Secretary, Peter Kyle, said that he would do what it takes to keep people, and in particular children, safe online. So there's been a new bit of legislation, the Online Safety Act, and they're looking at different things that they can do as part of this act to keep kids safe. So they're thinking of banning social media. What do you think, Harriet?
I'm under conflicting views about this. I think it's really good that we're taking steps now to, legislate and try and help this regard, because I don't think we move quick enough half the time when it comes to the internet. It's interesting that we're following Australia. Also, I think it's interesting that Instagram have also brought out their own guidelines about, like teenagers being on the site. But, just some food for thought, right? I feel like we grew up in the times where the internet was the Wild West.
Yeah.
You had chat roulette, had Amigo, you had MySpace, and we were essentially doing our own HTML coding and stuff like that. And if you look at the statistics just on Gen Z is getting scammed and not being able to detect what's AI and what's not versus millennials, I feel like we managed to acquire a level of computer and sort of internet literacy by having to go through all of that. They don't seem to be acquiring, and will this ban help that, or will it sort of make it even worse because they're going to find different ways to go online that they might not be able to, or they'll have certain restrictions, then suddenly they will come online when they're 16 or 18 and have no idea what's going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw a meme, I think it was on Twitter last week, that was being a millennial means helping your parents on how to use the printer, and then also helping your children on how to use the printer.
I don't know how this has happened. I do think there are certain aspects of social media that are very damaging. I think it's when people use filters or walk their bodies, or when people are just constantly posting positive updates, and it makes other people think that their life isn't good enough and not living up to it. But I think that's another conversation to be had. I think that's a conversation of critical thinking that needs to happen away from social media. And also, I don't think you're going to be able to escape that completely, because I remember when I was little, for example, at school in Tenerife, we didn't have uniforms. So everyone used to, wear the cooler clothes. And if you didn't have a certain brand of trainer or something like that, you'd probably get stuff said to you. Whereas I guess now it kind of happens online. I don't think that's going to go away. I think it'll just move somewhere else.
I think it's a really good point. I can't remember who said it. It may have been the Technology Secretary, but when I was listening to the news on the radio this morning, he had said something interesting that was with apps and the internet and these digital products and social media, we only detect harm or try and mitigate harm after the harm has happened. We create a product, release it, and then go, oh no, a byproduct of this is we've accidentally created low self-esteem in all women. Oh no. And he was saying, I can't think of another product where you're allowed to do that. If you think about pharmaceuticals, if you think about food, if you think about toys, even stuff like that, everything goes through rigorous testing to meet safety regulations and health regulations. And we don't do that with digital products.
Can I just write on a quick side note, because I feel like it's relevant to this, like, you know, when we say like people do rigorous testing on toys, did you see that Barbie released the Wicked Barbie doll?
Oh my gosh, and the website
cute to like adult content site. Yeah, that happens when you don't do proper testing, stuff like that, which is what's happening here. Like, you're not thinking of the positives. I think it's when people have really good ideas, which is really good, because when you're really positive about them, you're pushing them through, it kind of like gives people that oomph to like, you know, develop it and make it and get out there. But if you don't think of the potential downsides, then you end up with like half of us teenagers with like mental health problems because we've not thought about the impact it might have on them. But again, why did this not happen to us when we were all on MySpace making top fives? Do you know what I mean? Like, how savage was that when you actually think about it? Like, yeah, I don't think this is just constrained to children. I think this is like to adults as well. And maybe they're making it just for 16 and above because they're thinking, okay, well, if you're over 16, you should know that this could happen, rather than addressing it as a whole and being like, okay, why is this causing this type of, I don't know, ideation and thoughts in people, not just young people, people in general, and how do we address that as a society? Rather than banning it, people are still going to go on it. What can we change, you know, or what can we add to address that?
And that is a big question that I don't have the answer to.
No, but I don't think we should be taking kids off the internet. And also, how do you define what social media is as well? Like, is Roblox going to be social media because you can message people? League of Legends? Like, are we going to take kids off Minecraft? Do you know how many kids that's got into like engineering?
Yeah, it's a big question. There's another story that we're kind of tying into this. We've mentioned Roblox twice. So if you're like, why are they so... We haven't just started playing Roblox at the age of 30. They have announced also this week that they are going to block under 13s from messaging each other online. Now, it is apparently the most popular gaming platform from 8 to 12-year-olds in the UK, and it is played by 88 million people each day. So it is a huge game. And they are now trying to take measures to, you know, protect children, increase online safety by blocking DMs under 13s. And they're also trying to increase their verification processes for verifying identity and age. And that seems to be kind of like a common thread that a lot of people are trying to do.
Yeah.
So that's quite an interesting technical question of like how secure and reliable is your age verification.
I can see how you'd roll that out across Europe potentially, but not in the UK because we don't have identification cards here.
Yeah.
So how are you going to prove your age if you don't have a passport or a provisional license when you're 13?
Yeah.
I mean,
so this is maybe a conversation that the government needs to have as well of like, outside of technology, what are measures that can be put into place that then technology can use? So, you know, does the government need to start issuing everybody identity cards? Like, I think you can apply for them online at any age anyway.
Do we have them?
Yeah, we do have them because I remember some of my friends would have them because they didn't look older than 12, so they wouldn't be able to buy 12 DVDs. So they used to get an age card, like an ID card, so that they could buy their DVDs, which is so sweet. So I think you can get them, but you have to apply. But maybe it needs to be a thing where it's, you know, it's automatically given to you like a birth certificate, and then maybe it's got a code on it like your driver's license, and you have to type that in when you're creating an account to be able to create an account, and then it's able to verify your age. Like, there are ways that you could implement it. We're just not doing it.
It's taking the fun out of everything as well, in a sense. Like, obviously, I think we should be regulating it. But say, for example, your account gets banned randomly. We've seen it happen as well when AI bots are controlling who gets banned, you know, on moderation and stuff. You can't even open another account then because your ID is tied to that, which is good and bad.
Yeah, it's true.
But also, like, have you ever played Roblox before?
I haven't, actually.
Right, cringe, I have. And I think I played it when I was at uni, maybe for the first time. So I was not...
I don't think that's cringe. I think that's adorable.
But I used to go visit one of my younger cousins, and he was such a gamer. Whenever I used to go visit them, we'd always end up playing games, and he got me playing Roblox with him when I went to visit. And you know what? He is a computing genius. Like, he works for a games company now in Norway. Like, when he was like literally 11, 12, he was earning his pocket money by running servers and hosting people. Wow. I'm not even joking. Like, he was DMing me. I don't know if he was 12 at the time. He might have been, but he was DMing me on Roblox and, like, you know, sending me stuff like that. This guy gave me well, it's so long ago now, I can say what he did, but he hacked a Like, he used to hack Club Penguin accounts with me to like money on it and give me the login. Like, but we'd used to talk over DM and stuff like that. So if I can't do that, like,
Yeah.
we've not been able to talk to him then.
And there's a lot, I think there's a lot of people, one of my friends, her brother is a lot younger than her, and they used to only, communicate through like a game DM or whatever. So it is restricting that is such a big question. And I think the government is aware of that, because what they've said today is at the moment they're not doing anything. They just want to collect data and evidence. They say there's currently no firm peer-reviewed evidence. So they want to conduct research, get some data, and make a decision off of that.
You know what I think we need to do more of in this country? And again, it comes down to education, critical thinking, and just recognise what might be a scam, who might be hiding behind a computer, not blindly trusting people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like just being a bit savvy on the internet, we teach kids stranger danger, don't talk to people in the street, don't accept sweets from strangers. And we should be teaching that online as well, of like, don't accept a DM request or don't talk to people that you don't know.
Or if you are going to accept a DM request, troll them. Like, hey, Dervish, you used a nice thing. That's what we used to do growing up, right? We're still here, right? But a bit of fun with it, but no, it's not. But again, it's hard when you're that age.
Yeah, but I do agree. I think the critical thinking thing is useful in literally all walks of life. And if you want to be an engineer, you need to have that. So let's
know what's real data, what's false data. And I guess it goes to TikTok as well, just knowing whether it's a deep fake, whether it's true, whether it's not. I keep seeing 50 Cent quotes online that I know aren't true, and you know what, they're quite compelling. I can see why people believe them. But I was like, you never said this. But they mapping someone else's words onto him.
They were, yeah. I guess the thing is now the ways that they are developing new things is rapid. So you have to have critical thinking to be able to keep up with it
and be an engineer.
Let's move on to the next story.
So the next one is Casio has created an AI pet called Moflin. So this was actually announced back in October, but this week, the Guardian reporter called Justin McCurry's posted an article after spending a week with them. Now, this is just making me think of Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
Next level. I don't know what you're thinking.
So it looks like a guinea pig, basically, or like a tribble from Star Trek. That's been a common descriptor as well. And it's fluffy. It's intended to be held and cuddled. And the idea is it has, it has an algorithm in it, a bit of AI, where it's supposed to learn your voice and react to how you treat it so that it develops a personality.
You know what? It's adorable, but scary. It's giving Black Mirror, but useful.
It has no limbs. It literally can't hurt you because it can't move. It can wiggle and like vibrate.
So I saw something really cute once. I can't remember specifically what it was called, but it was for like older people that might have Alzheimer's and stuff like that.
Was it the seal?
Like, yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah. Did it like vibrate or something like that? Looked after it. This seems like it could be good for something like that.
Yeah, so that's being used a lot in Japan. This product also was actually developed by Vanguard Industries, and then it's been manufactured and distributed by Casio. And Japan is doing a lot of research on this because they've got a massively aging population, and they're seeing an increase of dementia in their population.
Yeah.
So apparently there are a lot of those seals in like care homes and retirement homes, and there's some research in this article. They actually go into more depth about it, this Guardian article. There's some research that they are helping. At the moment, they're saying that they're not intending for the Moflin to be used in this environment, but it is, potential in the future. And sadly, they're not planning on selling it overseas at the moment, so we can't get our hands on one. But they do look cute. They're about £300. But what I find weird that's not like quite as integrated is
the app thing.
Yes. So you can only see the state of mind, their emotion, through an app. I'm kind of like,
that kind of limits it, doesn't it?
But does it? Or do you even need that? Because if you're trying to if you're trying to create an electronic version of a dog or a cat, I can't read a dog's mind. I can't read a cat's mind. So I don't know what their mental state is, So do we need
to look it out though?
Yeah, so
replacement and that.
True. So is it like, does the Moflin actually just need stuff like that? Like maybe it could make a certain sound if it was in a certain mood, or do you give it ears so that it can move the ears in a certain way, so that you're learning those cues rather than having to go, oh, let me check my app.
This is what I don't really get. Like, the more I sort of read up on it, right, it sounds like the physical aspect of, like, this Moflin is it's just there, it's being cute. It doesn't really specifically say what movements or anything it's doing, but it does say that you won't be able to tell how it's feeling from its body language. So I don't really get, like, is there just some data saying how many times you picked it up or something going to the app?
Yeah, I think
that's how it's working out. Like, it sounds like there's one-way data, it's not two-way.
Yeah, I think so, because apparently there's voice recognition there as well. So it's training to learn your voice. It's obviously got microphones. Yeah. So it's probably doing something with that as well, like how often are you talking to it? You can name it in the app and give it a gender or no gender, and maybe it can then recognize its name, so they can track how often are you mentioning its name. It's probably got touch sensors on it, so how often are you holding it? Are you touching it? It has a charge base, so it probably knows when it's being charged, so then it can therefore go, well, if you just left me on charge all day, you've not spent any time with me. So there's probably ways that it can extrapolate quite a lot of information from the limited, sensors it has.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like it has potential, but maybe we need Moflin too. That has a tail.
Yeah, but you know what? That's tail and moving ears.
Yeah.
I think that's what it
solved it. Would you get one?
I've got a Brenda already.
Oh, yeah, you've got a cat.
Although she might be friends with it. You never know. Maybe I would.
I think I would get one because I really want a cat, but my housemate is allergic to cats. And I feel like I want a dog, but I feel like at the moment my work-life balance would mean that I wouldn't get to have the time that I would think the dog deserves to have with the dog. So maybe I do need a little electronic animal that only has a 5-hour battery life, and I don't have to feed or clean up and walk.
See, I think in that case, you should start off with the Tamagotchi. And then if you look after that and keep it alive, get them off. I can totally see, in like a few years, people are going to have electronic pets. Like, do you remember Beanie Babies? I feel like we're going to go, like, we're going to have like electronic style Beanie Baby.
But do you remember as well, like this, was it Sony that made the robot dog that was like big in the 90s, early noughties? There was like
Sony robot dog.
There was
oh my gosh, no, I remember this.
Yeah, there was a really famous like toy.
I think I wanted it.
I really wanted it. I had one that wasn't as good. Yeah, maybe we'll see more development. It'd be interesting to, obviously, it was announced in October. People are starting to get these Moflins. So we'll keep you in the loop. See if we're going to have a electronic guinea pig takeover.
Trip to Japan is all I'm hearing.
Yeah, let's go. Like, how come you've come to Japan? Is it because of the culture? Is it because of the food? Is it because of the history? No, we wanted to buy an electronic guinea pig, and now we're hovering back on the plane. See you later.
Literally. I think it's a good reason.
I think it's a good reason. A good a reason as any. We're going to wrap here. We've deep dived into social media and digital literacy, and we've had a nice little ending with the Moflin. So thank you for listening to our 10th episode of the weekly debrief. Harriet, if people wanted to find us on social media, where can they go?
So hit us up on Tech Girl Energy on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, got some YouTube Shorts, and Threads as well. We've got Threads covered too.
Amazing. And we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
This has been an I Am Listening exclusive podcast. For more information, head over to our website, im-listening.co.uk.